Hey there, my heart centric friends. This is Cherise. If you're a small business owner or a solopreneur, now's the time to jump into the AI game. But don't jump into it without any safety net. Let me take you through a journey with AI. Begin with confidence and start learning AI at your own pace and get some successes under your belt. Then you can grow. What if I told you this is not just some quick fad? Honestly, AI has been around for a long, long time. If you have a car, if you have any new appliances in your home, all those things that connect to your phone, that's all AI. And it's all being driven by that artificial intelligence underneath it. I remember when I bought my very first car 35 years ago. It was a Saturn. I loved it. I really loved that car. And I have a whole story about angels and how I got that car in a way that nobody would believe. But that's a story for another time. We're talking about AI right now. So I was enamored with it because I'd gone to the Chicago Auto Show and they had talked about fuzzy logic. And I thought, "Ooh, that sounds interesting." And somebody like me who's into technology found that fascinating. But I didn't know impact of fuzzy logic. And I took it out. I bought it specifically to drive from Chicago to San Francisco in about a month's time. And so a brand new car. It was April. It was beautiful to drive down Interstate 80 straight out west. And for the most part, it was a good drive until I got to the mountains. And the fuzzy logic kicked in. What did it do? Well, it was cruise control, but it had an automatic adjustment that it anticipated how the car would react on a hill or a mountain or a steep incline. And for the first full day, I fought that car. I fought the fuzzy logic because I didn't understand it. So that night when we got into the hotel room, I pulled out the manual and went, "Oh my God, is my new car broken?" Well, no, it wasn't broken. It was programmed that way. It was just that I did not use it in the way that it was intended because I didn't understand it. I learned when you try hitting the brakes and you stop on a dime or you put the cruise control on, it decides to accelerate up the mountain and you don't expect it and you don't have control. Well, that's somewhat what AI may feel like. You get a new tool, you're interested, it's intriguing, and you want to play, you want to learn, but as a business owner, you don't have the luxury of learning about everything all at once. Small businesses deserve the opportunities that technology are made available to big corporations, but you don't have a staff of a dozen to figure it out. You have a staff of one or two, maybe three. And each area and each person has not only their day-to-day duties, but they also then have to figure out these new tools. I've been helping people for 50 years about technology. I love to train. I love to teach. As you can tell, I can talk about it. And I find it exciting, but I also understand the concerns and fears. I remember when I introduced a new software package at a university, I had one woman, really sweet lady, and she was very good at her job. She was a recruiter for students. And she was used to interacting all the time with people and rarely touched computers of any sort. And when we started implementing a new software system, she was really afraid. And I told her, "That's okay. I'm going to take you by the hand, literally, and I'll show you step by step what you need to do." And she was concerned. I mean, she's an older woman. Was at that time my age now. So she was in her 60s and she didn't have many years to go till she retired, but yet she had to be facing technology and she didn't expect to do that. But I spent the time. I taught her the tools and she did get it. She did still recruit because that was her love and her passion, but she began to really understand and then accept how the tools could help her do her recruiting better because she could talk to the students better. She understood them better because she had their data available to her in ways that she never had before. I left the institution that I had taught at. However, when unfortunately she had passed away several years later and I went to her memorial, her son came up to me and said, "You know, Cherise, if you didn't take the time to help her and help her be comfortable with the technology, the last several years of her life would have been so different, and she wouldn't have been able to achieve the things she did. So now how does that relate to being a solopreneur or a small business owner? Well, as small business owners, we have those moments. We have those blind spots. We have those situations where, yeah, it sounds like a good idea, but I don't have time to do this stuff. When will I have time to do this stuff? But I know it's a benefit if I do it. So I'm creating this series about AI tools and small businesses and ways that certain tools can be helpful. One of the things that happened today is I had a friend ask me about which AI tool should I buy? Which of the things will help me do this, this, and this in my business? And I went, whoa, stop that. I said, you're coming at it from the wrong place. You're reading all of the trades. You're reading the newspapers. You're listening to the news. You're seeing tons of stuff on Facebook and LinkedIn and a variety of social media. And you're getting the cart before the horse. Why? Because before you can solve a problem, you have to understand the problem you're solving. And that's just basic consultancy 101. Understand the problem that you're trying to solve. There's probably not a basic business process that doesn't have an AI, if not a dozen, that can address it. But that doesn't mean the tool you choose will be the one that's right for your company, your organization, you as a solopreneur. And I say that because I've tested and used dozens of different softwares and AIs, and I see the differences. Like, for example, when you talk about a general purpose kind of artificial intelligence tool, there's Chat GPT, there's a Gemini, which is Google, there's Copilot, which is Microsoft, there's Claude, which is a more research-oriented tool. And they all will do very similar things in some ways. If you ask any one of the four the same question, they will give you answers, and they will give you similar answers in some cases, sometimes not. That's a whole nother conversation and discussion. But the bottom line is they'll all do that. But which one will you work with best? Some people like the Google ecosystem. Some like Microsoft. Some like Chat GPT. And it is the leader when it comes to that particular brand of an AI. Some like Claude. Now, I will tell you from personal experience, I've tried all four of them for a variety of things on the same issue. So I might start in Claude and ask it, how do I solve this problem? And it'll give me whatever. And the answer makes sense. Then I'll go to Gemini and ask the same question. And it'll give me the similar answer, but maybe with more framework or more background. I might even go to Copilot and do the same exercise. I'll also then go to Chat GPT. The kinds of responses I get tell me which tool is the best for me. Now, I could choose one, and I have. I'm pretty consistent with Chat GPT right now, but I have trained Chat GPT to know me very, very well. So when it does come back to me with information, that information does relate to me. And that's what you can do as a business owner. You give it information that tells the AI exactly the kind of business owner, entrepreneur that you are, and then it can come back with information that matches who you are in your business. And that's huge. For example, some of the things I create for Heart Centric AI are done in conjunction with ChatGPT and Claude. There have been some suggestions that I have gotten from the AI that if I had thought about the problem a little longer, I would have come up with them most likely because I'm very much about forward thinking. But the fact that it came back right away and I didn't have to think some more about it and then reconsider it was significant. Now, that doesn't mean that it's right all the time. Believe me. And in another video in the near future, I'm going to talk about the frustrations of using AI. Because boy, do I have stories to tell. If any of this has resonated with you, you find it interesting, you're fascinated by AI, maybe concerned about AI, whatever the thought process is, I encourage you to like, subscribe, share this video with others that might be curious about these new tools that are available. They don't have to be just for business. They can be for personal as well. In fact, I've written prompts, and that's how you work with the AIs, about how I want to exercise after my stroke. Now, not everything that's provided is the best thing. You have to use your discernment at all times. And sometimes it gives you weird data and weird information. And you might have even heard about AIs hallucinating. That'll be another video in this series. So again, like, subscribe, comment below, ask your questions. I love questions and I love to answer them. Look in the description and grab my questions about AI so that you have a basis about, if you're looking at tools, what are the kinds of questions you should have first before going and investigating a tool? While it's fun to play with a tool and poke around and figure it out, and I can attest to that, it's also beneficial for time management and for what you might want to do with it to ask the right questions. Be clear about what your purpose is. If all you want to do is just play around, that's fine. But if you really want to accomplish something, if you really want to leverage the power of AI, grab my download, my free download. Go to Heart Centric AI and sign up for my newsletter where I give weekly tips about how to use AI, sometimes in life, sometimes in business. It all depends. And you can also get on my business list that will be just dedicated to small businesses and institutions, organizations, but small ones. And if any of this resonates, again, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to answer questions. Doing videos like this really excites me. So have a good day. Bye.